Thomas James Robertson. Thomas left this earth all too soon, but his passion for life will live within us for always. I don't think I can do justice in this speech for the life he lived and portray the great things he's accomplished. Thomas was an amazing husband, son, brother, uncle, friend, and teacher. Thomas, Tommy, Tom, Buzzer, Beavis, Thomasina, Hawk, Brother, Bro, and a few nicknames that aren't necessarily appropriate for younger audiences, was my big brother. We were two peas in a pod growing up. We were thick as thieves. If we weren't fighting, we were scheming, working together to sneak back in the house in our teens, or get the old tractor unstuck from the pasture where it wasn't supposed to be in the first place, figuring out how to hide the holes in the walls from our fighting, making rivers in the sandbox, catching frogs by the river, and the list goes on, usually trying to outwit the other or to get in a good burn every chance we got. He was there for me when life was rough, always trying to lighten my mood or get me to just let things go. Tom was great at that, far better than I have ever been, at letting bygones be bygones and just living life to the fullest. I'll carry with me his helping nature and love of nature, except snakes. I'll only be carrying the scar I got when he chased me with the fake one. Don't worry, he also chased me with the real ones. He pushed me to be okay with what life threw at me, and always let me know that if I needed him, he'd be there. I'll miss him interrupting my nap. His timing was always impeccable. I'll miss telling him what his nephews are up to or the funny things they did or said, what John's current projects were, and his growing list for him, how the farm was, or where we were at with planting and harvest. I'll miss my updates on how Pika's doing, the cabin life, trip advice, their next travel plans, the stupid things Bob and him were up to, how shooting went at gun club, or his most recent flying stories, new technology that I should have, the best way to smoke whatever I was currently putting on the smoker, and what sweets I was currently baking up, and how to get them to him for Pika. We'd catch each other up on what our siblings and our parents were up to, how bad the pack was playing, and how to rub it in Jacob's face, sharing funny memes and just nonsense. As I'm sure Kayla, Kelsey, and Jacob have 1,000 more stories to share and tell of all that made him our big brother. John, Neil, Don, and Craig could tell you just how much of a brother he was to them as well, because he folded them into the family just like siblings, teasing, annoying, helping, and loving, just like he did with the rest of us. We'd always hug goodbye and wish of safe travels. Being apart was so very hard, but this is so much farther. I'm proud of all that he accomplished, and am honored to have gotten to call him my big brother, Captain, Professor, Obvious. Uncle Tom was the stuff all great uncles were meant to be. Just like a kid himself, he'd get right in there and play with them, teach them, help them, make fun of them, and not let them win. I'm sad to think that my young nephews and nieces are going to miss out on all the great things that were Uncle Tom, that my boys got to experience, and hope that my boys can show their younger cousins the things their uncle taught them. They had a great teacher, that's for sure. From how to shoot guns, bows and arrows, clean fish, rebuild a transmission, tinker on tractors, the proper rules to all the games, even if they were bent to Tom's advantage, and what the right kind of music is, and the appropriate volume level, as loud as your eardrums can handle. That learning is never ending, and if you can't figure it out, there's an appropriate YouTube video to show you how, or if all else, just Google it. That playing in the mud is expected, and tormenting his sisters and brother was just plain fun. But most importantly, help one another, never grow up, and love strong. To my sister and love Pika, you were his everything. He was so incredibly proud of all that you accomplished, be it work, school, or that you might have gotten a bigger fish than him. Not that he would admit that willingly. He'd be mad if he missed your call, and always dropped everything to answer or call you back. Many a times I'd hold the phone up to his ear as he was elbow deep in grease or mud to just say, "Hey, I'll call you back in a bit," or talk to you while I did the holding. Your love for each other was strong and unwavering. You were the best of travel buddies and saw the world together. His face would light up when you walked in the room, and you helped to ground that wild child inside of him with a soft place to land and maybe a stern "Thomas" here and there. He'll be with you always and watching over you. Never forget the love that he had for you. It was never ending, and he'd give anything to make you happy. You were the team that helped all of us, from remodel projects, wedding, baby, and party prep, to watching your nephews and nieces. The friendship you both shared and the people that your lives have touched draw strength from all of us that have loved you both and continue to be the great being that you are. Tom would not let you falter, and neither will we. We love you always and are here for you. To our parents, you all lost an oldest son. Be it biological or not, he loved you all with an open heart. He was always worried about you in what he could do to make life easier for you and fuller. His passion to get you out of the house and state to travel and see the world like he did meant the world to him. He adored all of your visits, be it to the cabin in Wisconsin, in Chicago, here in Minnesota, or in Maryland. Remember all the trouble he'd get into growing up and good times you've shared with him. All the lessons learned and love shared. He'll be in your heart always, a twinkle of mischief just around the corner, and laughter shared. I've had the pleasure and pain of getting to know Tom's best friend Bob these past years. They had quite the brotherly bond, and I'll miss the phone calls back from the cabin where we razzed Bob relentlessly. Don't worry, he got in a few good barbs as well. And I'd like to read what he wrote to the faculty at the college Tom has taught since 2007, after Tom's passing. Thanks for summing this all up for me, Bob. If anyone can explain Tom's friendships to family strangely, it might be Bob. Tom Robertson grew up on a farm in Minnesota. He loved all his family and always made time and trips for them. Growing up in Minnesota, he learned from his family and his grandfather how to fix things. He always referred to lessons from his grandfather when explaining things. I don't know if you have ever worked on a farm, but it is one of the most intense, technical, practical, and industrial sectors of our world. Tom and his skill set were a product of the world around him. He always had a way of explaining things that were simple and practical. I believe that is what made him a great teacher. He married his brilliant and beautiful wife Pika at an early age. I have never met a couple that operated efficiently as Team Tom and Pika. I have worked on many projects with them, and watching them work with Pika was like watching a symphony. I could have made an Emmy award-winning show about their interactions. Their love for each other in what they did together in everything was beautiful. My whole life I have helped people fix, build, and create things. When I met Tom, I realized he was the same type of person. Like most of my brothers in this world, Tom showed up to help me one day and never left. There are not that many people in this world that even come close to his skills, abilities, and willingness to help. There was only one, Tom Robertson. To his character and inner child, I would like to share his want for adventure. For the last 3 years, we have been taking overnight snowmobile trips into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We would just pack a bag and ride into it with no real destination. We rode into Marquette as a 30-inch blizzard came upon us. You could not even see the trails. I'll never forget seeing Tom turn right into the trails without batting an eye. You could barely make out the center of the trail. You could not see for more than 20 feet in front of you, and Tom rode through those trails fearless. Like a child that could not get enough, Tom had no care about consequences. He just rode free. It was something sublime. Tom served his wife, Pika, College of DuPage, his community, CODFA, and his fellow colleagues with everything he had. Tom expected everyone's best at our institution because that is what he believed would best serve students. He always knew what was right, and that is what I will miss the most about him. I would trade all that I have and am to have one last ride through the darkness with him. Bob. Fly high, Thomas. You will be missed. Thomas James Robertson was born November 16, 1979, in Litchfield, Minnesota. He grew up in central Minnesota, playing, learning, working, and living the dairy farm life. This is where Tom was taught how to repair tractors and most everything else from his grandfather, dad, and others in his life. This started his love for mechanics and tinkering. He graduated from Painesville Area High School in 1998. Tom then moved to Southern Maryland and worked at Leonardtown Ford from 1998 to 2006. Tom earned an AA degree from Community College of Baltimore in automotive technology in the Ford Asset Program in 2000. While taking classes at College of Southern Maryland, he met the love of his life, Pika. Tom and Pika were married at St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Morganza, Maryland on August 10th of 2002. The couple purchased their first home in Mechanicsville at the age of 23. They moved to Detroit, Michigan, where Tom worked for Ford and Chrysler. He earned his bachelor's degree from Pennsylvania College of Technology in automotive science in 2007. Tom and Pika moved to Chicago, Illinois, where Tom became a professor for the automotive program, where Tom shared his knowledge with eager students at the College of DuPage in Glen Ellen, Illinois, for over 15 years. Tom also earned his master's degree from the University of Illinois in Community College Teaching and Learning in 2010. Tom adored his family, especially all of the children in his life. He had so many friends because he treated everyone like they were his family. Tom, Pika, and their good friend Bob own a cabin in Wisconsin where they enjoy fishing on the lake, snowmobiling, entertaining friends and family, and remodeling their cabin. Tom was an avid adventurer and loved boating, hunting, shooting, teaching, tinkering, playing cards, and staying busy. He has had his private pilot's license for 2 years and was about to test for his commercial pilot license. Tom lived a good Christian life. Tom and Pika had the pleasure of traveling the world, including Australia, Germany, Ireland, Dubai, Morocco, France, Spain, Japan, England, Alaska, and multiple trips to Hungary and Hawaii. Tom was currently in the Forest City Thrashers Club, a gun club, and IFC Flying Club. He also volunteered for SYB umpiring and coaching youth baseball, teaching Boy Scouts how to shoot, and countless other community programs from Minnesota, Illinois, to Maryland. Tom left us unexpectedly on November 25th, 2022, after one final successful duck hunt with his brother Jacob, leaving us brokenhearted and lost.
empty seat back there just for you. But you're not there.
Tom, you still got your friend?
Yeah, he's still hanging out.